All right. Just relax and eat your food. I'm just going to start the intro. All right. It's already on. All right. So while we continue eating, this is going to be the last session for the seminar, and I really deeply want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Pastor Hernandez, for taking the time for 2 days. You know, it's 2 days out of you know, your life. To spend this with us. Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's just like you said, it's not really kind of rocket science. Pastor Hernandez is going to be here for next year. And then, the Mola is going to be here. Wherever they are in the sun, in the moon, in the Mars, they're still going to find themselves coming here. So we're so conscious of that. And we really do appreciate you guys, everything that you guys do. Thank you very much. So this evening, I quickly want to talk about, just find a way to tie everything up. It's about preparation. Preparation. How do we prepare? What do we prepare for? And I'm going to talk about 4 levels of preparation. And I'll make sure it's a little bit short, not too long. Now, the first thing I came to realize is this. We have this idea that what's happening around us, it's not really our problem. It's not really, we're not really saying it out, but our actions is what really, exposes us. Because we are we ever consider like what's going on around you? It's something that you need to take responsibility of and say, make sure I'm going to correct this happenings. Most of the time we just like exclude ourselves from the situation. I don't think it's my problem. I'm not in the position to deal with this. So we have many excuses why we feel we should not be the one to confront the situation. So doing that, that's kind of an attitude that makes us to feel, well, I don't have the power. I'm not in that position. I don't have the money. So why will I say anything? So in other words, we just said some other people will take care of it, but not me. Who's going to take care of it? So let every other person also say, oh, Femi's going to take care of it. And Femi said, oh, Femi's going to take care of it. Everybody's like thinking somebody else is going to do it. But what I'm trying to explain to us tonight is, in your process of preparation, you need to make yourself the subject of this discourse. You are in this system, you are in this world. Don't point finger to other people that they will take care of what's going on around you. Make yourself the very subject matter that said, if I don't do it, I'm not going to think somebody else is going to do it. When we start thinking like that, then we now get ourselves prepared and say, well, something's going to happen in 5 years' time. Nobody's going to fix it if I don't prepare for it. If the sun is coming, if the economy is going to collapse, I'm not going to think that some gurus are going to fix the economy. I'm going to be thinking, what am I going to do to make sure I fix what's happening? It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You don't have to be in White House before you change things happening around you. But in as much as you have this mindset that I'm not in power, I'm not in charge, I'm not supposed to do anything, then you're going to sit back and allow people to control what's going on around us. So it's very concerning that we exclude ourselves from circumstances that is happening in the world in which we live in. For example, God forbid, we're in this place now. If this place should catch fire, are you going to sit down and say, Sam is going to, bring the fireman? No. You're going to stand up and see what you need to do. You're not going to wait and say, well, we already called 911. Let's just sit down and watch the house burning and while we're sitting down inside. No. Your mind goes on a lot. What should we do? Do you guys need to pick something out? You start doing things. The same way, if the world is burning, the world is on flame right now. But it seems you're sitting down in the middle of the flame and the fire and you say, well, the fireman is going to do it. Biden is going to do it. Or maybe if Trump comes out the second time, he's going to do it. Why do you think they will fix it if you are not putting yourself as the subject matter to fix that situation? You know why? Because you think you don't matter in the system. You think you don't have a say. You think you are a kind of a, handicap in the system. And that's if you continue to think like that, you will not be able to prepare yourself for what's coming. And I want us to change that mindset tonight. I want us to change the mindset that makes us feel somebody else is going to do it. All right, I think Tim is going to fix it. So I'm just going to say, because Tim is the one that has the degree. I don't have the degree. And then Tim said, well, Femi is going to fix it because Femi is the one that's in the Air Force. And Femi said, well, that's not my problem. I'm just an Air Force person. Pastor Hernandez is going to be the one to fix it. Who is going to fix it? Then come one riffraff from the street that has no idea of how to fix something, and the person gets into a position of authority and destroy everything. You know what we do? We sit down in our house and we say, that guy is just a dumb person. Why is he doing like that? Well, the reason he's doing it like that is because when you have the opportunity, you didn't take it. And you leave that place vacant, and somebody that has no idea, that has no wisdom that is equal to your own, get into the system and begin to drive you wherever they want to go to. Tonight I'm talking to you about preparation, doing things differently. How do you do that? You can't do things differently if you not start thinking different. Now let me give you an example. If you go, it's not hidden that we're from Africa. Everybody knows that. But what's the problem with Africa today? One of the problems in Africa today is leadership. That's one of the problems. Leadership is one of the problems in Africa today. So these leaders, they are not competent. They don't know, a lot of them don't even know what they're doing. But one way or the other, they find themselves in the position of power. If the person that has no wisdom, no intellect, no skill become a leader of a nation, what do you expect of that nation? How is it going to coordinate that nation? What is it going to do? Or being a leader of a nation doesn't mean you are the best brain in that nation. It just means that like the best brain were not coming out to fight, to lead. So now, many of the countries in Africa are underdeveloped. Why? Because we have leaders that they don't understand what they're doing. And a lot of people living in poverty. 36% of Africans are living in extreme poverty. Why is this so? And Africa is a continent with so many resources, a lot of resources, but the people are still living in, kind of a situation that is so degrading. Think about this. It's not a rocket science. It's not like the Western world are living in Mars, and people in Africa have not seen an example of how to develop something. It's just like you are in an environment and you can see what this person is doing. We live in the same planet Earth. Some of the leaders travel to Europe, travel to US, and see things. Common sense just said, even when we're in high school and you don't know something and you're testing, you can, where we came from, you can ask somebody, do you know the answer to number 2? There's nothing like, you can't copy from somebody without asking them. You're like, do you know the answer? I don't know it. That's what leaders should do. If you're an African leader and you're coming to US, you're going to Europe, you should be able to come and just see something and ask somebody, how can I replicate what I'm seeing here in my country? We didn't say be the scientists. We're not saying be the inventors. We're just saying see something that is good, copy that same thing, bring it to your nation. If you're a leader and you can't just copy good things, what else would you be able to do? We're not saying invent. We're not saying do all those things. Just copy. Some of the African leaders cannot even imitate something that is good. They can't even replicate what they see in Europe, in America. They can't replicate it in Africa. And they're leading millions of people. So that's the problem. Now, why am I saying this? Those kind of leaders will continue to lead that continent and some of those nations in Africa until the Africans, the citizens, come up and say, enough is enough. We don't want these kind of leaders because they don't have anything good to offer us. So the people have to rise up and become their own agent of change. They have to prepare to fight and say, no, we have enough of this. So think about this. A nation that cannot discover and utilize the potential of a citizen is not free. When we talk about freedom, we think freedom is not about the flag. Independence is not about the flag. Independence is not about the document that's being signed by the country. No. So a lot of African nations say, we have our independence in 1960, 1957. What is that? Does not mean anything. You just have your own flag, different from the British flag, doesn't mean as an independent nation you are actually independent. But what do you think it means to be an independent nation? It requires the wisdom to intelligently create prospect for a self-governing and self-determination in order to sustain the people. Can you do that? Do you have the intellectual capacity to be self-governed? Can you sustain the citizen? It requires also, if you say you are an independent nation, you have to be mature enough to redefine the destiny of that nation, to be able to take them from where they used to be before to where they need to be now as a leader. But these, the nations, the leaders in Africa, they can't do that. You have to be able to develop the citizen and be able to do what? To discover the potential of the citizen and also manage the resources of that nation. After you discover the potential of the citizen will be able to tell you with their own gift and their own talent, be able to know how to harness the resources of that nation and manage it to be able to build a prospective nation. You have to work with the citizen because those are the treasures. If you can't discover the potential in people, you can't go further as a leader. You need to see what they have, because what they have is what you need to be able to build where you're going to. So it's about the people. It's not about that one single leader that thinks he knows something. So at the end of the day, the people will continue to wallow in poverty if they did not rise up to fight for their own liberty. It's not because the nation is independent doesn't mean the people are independent. In as much as they can't even sustain themselves, the leader can't even sustain them, they can't even self-govern each other. So that's a problem there. We have to, wherever you are. Now I'm using Africa as an example because you can actually see the situation is very glaring. But now let's come to this place where we are. We are in the same situation. It's not different. Because we have good roads, we have electricity here, doesn't mean we are different from people in Africa. Because the civilization that is here has been built for how many years? So many years ago. And the new generation are not building nothing except the TikTok and all those things. Those things they're building now does not generate anything in the future. What they're building now is just kind of a quick thing. You ask yourself, what is the knowledge that is being generated in this time? No. Everything is just fanciful. What you can do in 5 minutes to have 1 million followers and then you become famous and you have money and you know what to use the money for. There's kind of the quality of life is decreasing. The quality of life is decreasing. People don't know what really life means anymore. People just think, like younger generation think, when I go to college, I'm just going to do this thing and I'm going to do that thing and that's all. They don't understand what price means, to pay a price for something. They don't understand what dignity means. They don't understand what commitment. They don't understand what loyalty means. That's why you see a generation, in those days, you see some Americans that will know, if I see the flag of this nation somewhere, I have to respect the flag. If I see the flag on the floor, I have to pick up the flag. But we have seen a generation now that doesn't understand price and value. So they say, well, we don't really care what this flag about. They step on the flag, stomp on it, and do whatever. But it's not about the cloth that we're talking about. It's about the value and the price that was paid to make that thing a symbol of national dignity. But because they don't understand value, none of them has been able to go to Vietnam. None of them have lost anything. But because they are TikTok generation, Facebook, Instagram generation, that you can sit down in your room and click two buttons, and 10,000 people say, I like you. The reason they like you is not because you're intelligent. The reason they like you is because you are fulfilling their own fantasy. So now, the quality of man to bring the best out of themselves is decreasing. Because the world is about cause and effect. What you sow, it's what you reap. So this generation, I'm not sure what's going to come out in some years to come. But what am I saying tonight is, if you and I that really have the understanding of what process, discipline, diligence, honesty, morality, if you don't step up to contribute to the system, at the end of the day, we might not have a nation called America again. Because it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone because value is no more, what people are trading anymore. People I can do whatever I want to do. People don't even have tough skin anymore. If you say something, whoa, it's a cancel culture. You can't say that. Why can't I say this? Well, your opinion doesn't matter anymore, in as much as that opinion will make somebody to cry. What are you talking about? We have a generation that were like 70 years old, went into Vietnam, started fighting and killing and, trying to survive and defend the nation. Now we have a generation that say, because she said this, I need to go to a counselor and I need to go and get therapy. Because what? Because she said black life does not matter. Because I say black life does not matter, students will need to go and see therapy. You see the gap in that? You see what I'm trying to talk about? But until people of different mindsets get out from the hiding places and say, this is not how it's going to be. But you can't force those ones who have that different concept and different ideology. You can't force them to change. But what you need to do is to focus on the people they're trying to corrupt and begin to get into that position and begin to be an influential to change what's going on. If you don't step up and you're thinking, Yemi is going to do it, and Yemi says, Pastor Analysis is going to do it, who is going to go to the school board meeting and say, well, I don't agree with what you're teaching my children because their life has nothing to do with this. But I'm going to say, well, I don't know. They send me, there's going to be a school board meeting. I don't think I have anything to do with it. Who is going to go there to do it? Why don't you think you are the one that is meant for that job? Why do you think what you're doing is more important and you feel somebody is going to fix it? It's a deception. When you think other people are going to fix the failure of the society and you live in that same society and you're not trying to contribute, you are deceiving yourself because you're not sowing what you need to reap. And whatever you are sowing, that's what you're going to reap. Absence, that's what you're going to reap. You're sowing absence, that's what you're going to reap. But you got to think about, if I don't do it, who is going to do it? Okay, somebody else is going to do it, but I also have a strong opinion and I need to contribute to what's going on. My voice needs to be heard. But you can't do that if you don't have the confidence in yourself that you need to be heard. If you don't have confidence that you are part of the system and there's a reason why you are here and there's something you need to contribute to the system. So preparation. Tonight I want you to begin to change the mindset of thinking somebody else will do something and you are in the same system and you are not saying, why can't I be the person that would do it? I have a very good example of this lady that I used to listen to her sometimes, then I stopped listening to her. Have you ever heard about this lady? She's a Congress lady, AOC. She used to be a bartender. And then she just said, I'm just going to, contest for this seat she's from Bronx, New York. And then she came to Congress. She was elected as a rep. And she's one, they call them the progressive, liberal progressive. She's one of the, oh my God. You You don't have to. This is what we do. We sit down in our house and we complain. What is she saying? She doesn't know anything. But you that you know something, why are you not doing something? And when you listen to this idea of this person, you know that if you leave the country in the hand of this person, you only have 15 years to survive in this nation before this nation is done. But she decided to, like Femi said, you have to find the field. Get into the field. So she left the bartender and get into the field of what? Politics. And she started making decisions. She started clamoring for things. She has a lot of followers. Even though if she's saying things that doesn't make sense, people are still following her and they say, I like what you do. You're so vocal. Because you will always see people like yourself that will follow you. Yeah. Birds of the same feather. Exactly. But what I'm saying is, if you, that you are wiser, that you know God, and you are intelligent, and you do all those things, and you're not stepping out to fill the vacuum in the society, some people who doesn't have the wisdom, who doesn't have the ideology, who doesn't have the depth that you have, will step into that vacant place and begin to lead this nation. And you can sit down in your house and complain as much as you want to. It doesn't change anything. Therefore, you have to start doing things different. You have to step out from your own comfort zone and say, what is it that I need to do that I've not been doing before? Now, let me ask you this question. I said, what roles and contribution are you making to our world today? What roles? What's your role? What's your contribution to the world today? What are you doing exactly? Now, terrorism, woke culture, the leftist agenda, these are not the main threats to sustaining the prospect of this nation and preserving the integrity of our generation. It's not about the woke culture. It's not about terrorism. That's not the problem. That's not the threat. Do you know what the threat is? Terrorism is not a threat. Woke culture is not a threat. The leftist agenda is not a threat. The only threat we have is, the greatest threat is you and me. We are the greatest threat. You know why? Because we decided intentionally to leave a vacuum in the system and allow for some people that have no business. So this is the vacuum in the system. And you are here with wisdom. And we have these people that have nothing, no idea. And you, because you did not take your spot here, this person say, I'm going to feel it. You are the threat because you are the one that's supposed to sustain this, but because you're not stepping up, you leave the vacuum there. Nature avoid vacuum, so somebody else is going to step in there. Somebody is going to tell us what we need to teach our kids. I keep saying that. Somebody's going to write about the curriculum. This is what we need to teach those kids. And you're going to send your kids to that same school. And they're going to teach them things that you have no contribution to. You didn't design it. Why? Because it's not that you're not capable, because you think somebody else should be the one to do it. That's not your job. Until we come, out of our closet or whatever that is, and start putting ourselves in front and say, I want to be part of this. What I need to contribute matters. Because that's the reason why I'm existing at this period in time. I'm not here just to be a spectator. Femi said, do you think they're going to give a spectator a prize? No. You need to move from the place of being an important person to being a relevant person. To be relevant means when you see this vacancy in the system, you have to tell yourself, that's my responsibility to fill that position. You don't have to I don't say everybody should become a politician, but there are so many vacancies in the system that you are responsible to fill, but because you're thinking somebody else should do it, and you're sitting back, that's why things are going the way it's going. So what are you going to do with everything you have as a child of God? What is the essence of you being a child of God? You know what the Bible says? It says you are the salt and the light. What is the essence of the salt and the light? It's for preservation. So you have things going on and you have salt that you're supposed to use to preserve it. You decided not to put salt. Guess what? Bacteria is going to start coming because you didn't put the right thing to preserve it. And some other things are going to start germinating from that meat or that food. Because you didn't get there to do your job. And that thing cannot be left there by itself. Somebody else needs to fill that vacuum. So flies are going to come, bacteria are going to come, fungus are going to come because it's not preserved. That's what we're seeing today. The people who have that mind to change things, who have the moral and decency to lead our nation to the right place, are all hiding. And then we leave the nation to the hand of whoever wants, and they're there. And now we're saying, well, it's going to be a storm. What are we going to do? Well, it's going to be a storm because it's about cause and effect. The people that are supposed to be in the forefront leading the nation, they are at the back, not even participating in what's going on. That's the problem we have today. You got to be prepared to change your mindset, how you see things. So the question that Femi gave us was like, if they need, somebody needs to come to this El Paso, and what they're looking for, it's only 3 people or 2 people that have that thing. What is it, that thing that you want to be, that people will come over and say, it's only you and 2 other people that can do that thing in El Paso? You know why? Because there's always going to be that position for you that you are the only one that have the right concept to be in that position and to fulfill it very well. Nobody else will be able to do what you can do. But nobody knows what you can do because you are not doing anything yet. Nobody knows. And you know, the problem, the threat there is like, when you don't rise up to be in that position that you need to be in, see, this is an open spot for you to be in this spot. This spot and position you're supposed to occupy